we roll.
Let me tell you who I'm rolling with. I am rolling with the Dot Experiment. I don't know if you ever heard of them before, but the Dot Experiment is here to help you with all your cell phone and computer needs. The Dot Experiment is here for all your tech, all your software problems, whether it's the storage full, your laptop won't boot, or you're just tired of your current setup, or you're just looking for tech support. The Dot Experiment is the only way to go. Call them today, 404-259-1343, or you can email them at support@thedotexperiment.com for a free consultation. Don't waste your money buying tech stuff and tech software that you don't understand and don't know how to use. Contact the Dot Experiment, the professionals in fixing all your stuff, man. So before you buy that cell phone, before you get that computer, contact the Dot Experiment. It's the only way to go. I'm telling you, that's how we roll it over here.
Give it to me, do it to me, give it to me. Don't stop, don't stop, don't stop, don't stop. The way you make me.
Do you like music like this? That's right, I'm asking you. Do you like music like this? Then why have you not been to Sophisticated Saturday as yet? That's right, each and every third Saturday of the month, we call it Sophisticated Saturdays. Where we keep it at? Caribbeanlifetv Studios. 6254 Memorial Drive is the only place to be each and every third Saturday of the month. So if you want to celebrate your birthday, if you just want to come hang out and have some fun with grown people having big fun, Sophisticated Saturdays is the only place to be. It's brought to you by yours truly, DJ Reds, and my boy, Mr. B. Sophisticated Saturdays, every third Saturday of the month, 6254 Memorial Drive is where the grown people go and have good, clean fun. Every third Saturday of the month, man. The way you make me feel, I'm just going to have fun. I'll see you there. Sophisticated Saturdays. I got you.
Trini Joe presents Island Vibe Orlando, the ultimate all-inclusive weekend extravaganza, June 28th to July 1st. 2 days, 2 events. On June 29th, the party starts with a bus ride from Holiday Inn and Suites Orlando. Bus leaves 11 a.m. sharp to Cocoa Beach for the all-inclusive brunch and beach. Party to music by Atlanta and Orlando's hottest DJs. Enjoy delectable food and mixed drinks. June 30th, event number 2, Island Vibe Sundays presents Seductive, the all-inclusive day party. Come celebrate Trini Joe's birthday with an evening of elegance with top shelf drinks and delicious food at the Holiday Inn and Suites Orlando. Head on over to islandvibesundays.com for detailed info and to purchase your tickets. Island Vibe Orlando, all-inclusive weekend extravaganza, brought to you by Trini Joe. See you there.
Atlanta, the wait is over. Friday, May 17th, T2O Carib Splash presents the return of Sizzla. Performing live.
Yeah, let them know.
Sizzla Kalonji.
Get to the point. Yeah, this the Rasta man and I'm a bun. Me chalice when me Yankee gun.
Alongside Pressure Bus Pipe.
Let me give you some love and affection.
Pressure Bus Pipe and Sizzla Kalonji performing live.
I've got to take myself away from all these things that's hurting me.
And a star-studded DJ cast. Friday, May 17th at Zion Yard. Doors open at 8 p.m. Showtime 11 p.m. Tickets available now on VIPSocio.com. That's VIPSocio.com. For more info, call 904-600-1077. The return of Sizzla.
right, we are here. I am back. I am back. I am back. It is Wednesday. Lifing with Coach Kimmie. You can find me on IG, Lifing, LIFEN underscore KIMMIE 24. Also, Hill, HILL underscore KIMMIE. To watch live, you can watch on Facebook, Caribbean Life TV, and also you can catch it live on the 365 app, Caribbean Life Radio. If you would like to be a sponsor or give a donation, you can call 678-695-8354. If you have questions, comments, or suggestions during the show, you can call 678-695-8354. Also, to call in live, to call in live is during the show, 678-661-1819. And to give or leave comments or suggestions for future shows is 678-695-8354. So before I go into talking more, I just want to say that I do have two guests. I'm going to start with my left. Can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Adria. I am Adria.
And how are you feeling today, Adrian?
I'm good. The semester just ended, and I have 2 more semesters, so I'm feeling accomplished. You know what? I really can't complain. I'm feeling blessed. Very blessed.
So 2 more semesters and then graduation?
Yes.
All right, and then to my right, I have a special guest as well, and we have an individual in common, which is how I actually met him, and that would be a shout out to Dr. Demetria Hill, and she is a licensed professional counselor. And can you introduce yourself, sir?
Certainly. My name is John Porter, and I am a life coach, relationship coach, motivational speaker, and I'm just so happy to be here.
And how was your day?
It was good. I can't complain. Another day above ground is always a blessing. So
I always say
won't
that.
complain about anything.
I always say that. And so, briefly, what brings you here?
I-75. Seriously. No, seriously, it's crazy because the last 2 years of my life have just really shifted. I had this grand plan that I was going to retire and open up an event center for comedy and live music. But as fate would have it, I ended up catching COVID May of 2022. Mm-hmm. And while I was in the hospital, the Lord told me, say, you're going to write a book. And so I started, of course, writing my autobiography about the story, my story, because I've overcome insurmountable odds. And the fact that I'm still here, still standing, is a testament to that. And I was going to be real transparent and tell the truth. But then I realized some of the stuff I couldn't talk about because I was still working with my law enforcement agency. And I didn't want those problems. So as fate would have it, I was unable to work from September up until now. So what I ended up doing was being forced to retire.
Okay.
And on disability because of long COVID. Mm-hmm. So with me being everywhere and always in the streets and always doing something for the community, always helping people out, I was forced to sit.
Ooh, I know that was hard.
And it was extremely hard for me because I was always on the go.
Right.
But that's sometimes the Lord has to, in order to get your attention, he has to sit you down.
True.
And that's exactly what I did. And so I said, okay, Lord, you got my attention. What am I going to do? Should I continue to write this book because they still hadn't signed my retirement paperwork? No. I said, well, what am I supposed to do? And he said, you already created a moniker of the Love Doctor on Facebook and Instagram. And it was during the time where I was just, because I'm also a part-time comedian.
Oh, I didn't
And-
know that about you. So that's
Just-
something new.
Yeah, just part-time comedian, and was just trying to really, during the whole pandemic, and just trying to engage with people and try to encourage people. And with the Love Doctor, he gave the absolute best love relationship advice, and he also gave the absolute worst. And I was inspired by one of my favorite comedians, Corey Holcomb, out of Chicago, Illinois. He's a genius. And so I would always give the good relationship, but I always would give the bad. But I would always realize that people were more responsive to the good and that it was a need for it.
Yeah.
And so the Lord said, I need you to write a book on relationships. I need you to write one on dating, and I need you to write one on marriage once you get married.
Okay.
And so 2 out of the 3 have already been written. And my first book, The 12 P's of Dating, was real good, real successful. And crazy part about it, I already have one couple that's already gotten married
By using the book.
by using the book.
Okay.
And 2 have gotten engaged.
Okay.
So, if people do the work, it's a simple guide and relevant. It's real and relevant. And there's nothing extremely hard. People make it hard.
Yeah, I agree. And I also believe in doing the work. You have to put the work in. And before you even start talking about doing the work in a relationship, what about you need to do the work on yourself?
Amen to that.
Yeah, because sometimes we think we're ready, but we're really not.
Right.
Yeah, so that is important as well. So with now you said the 12
12 pieces of dating.
Yeah, 12 pieces of dating. With that, was it just a book, or is it like a book and a workbook, or how's it set up?
It's set up. It's a book, but it also has exercises and Bible verses that's in there. So because you're gonna get some Jesus with me, I'm sorry. That's just how I roll. So it's scriptures in here, and it all based on relationships.
Okay.
And the funny part that you said that, because with my third book that just was released, Mending the Broken Soul, I actually have a course that I'm actually working on right now that should be ready within the next 2 weeks. And I'm planning on doubling back and doing a course for the 12 P's of Dating as well.
Okay, so with Mending the Broken Soul, give us a little excerpt on what's that about.
Ooh,
And what led you?
heartbreak. It was, and the crazy part about it, the heartbreak that occurred, heartbreak is different once you're in your 40s.
Yeah.
And, it's different because when you're 18 and 20 and your 30s, you can kind of bounce back. But when you're 40, in your 40s, you tend to think that you're going to spend the rest of your life with this person. You're vested in this person, and, you just don't see it not working.
I think it's more personal.
It could be.
Yeah.
In this situation, it wasn't. It was because of my disobedience. And God gave both of us specific instructions. And with me being the man, I'm supposed to take the lead. And I got in my own way, and my disobedience caused that relationship.
To basically break.
Right.
Okay.
And so during the time, like right after the breakup, I had these gamut of emotions, and I was like, I need to get this out. And so I just started writing, started journaling, and I was like, okay, well, this needs to be a book because people need to hear, and they need to know, because I know I'm not the only 40-year-old that had a bad breakup or had a breakup at all, and they need to know how to navigate and get through this thing, because heartbreak is a real thing, because you're dealing with a whole gamut of feelings, emotions. You got grief, you got anger, you got happy, you get sad, and you have to deal with it. Like you said before, you can get into another relationship.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I feel a lot of people say, I don't need time. But yeah, you do. You need to give yourself time, because if you don't, then you'll take that pain, that grief, and put it into another relationship and damage that relationship and or that particular person you're dating at the time. So
You're absolutely right. I tell people all the time, if you survived COVID and you lived in COVID, you need therapy. I don't care. You need therapy, counseling, life coaching. You need something, because the last 4 years have been real hard on a lot of people. People have lost people, and people always equate post-traumatic stress disorder to people that's in the military. No, it just takes one hard event or one occurrence that can really trigger you and get you off course.
Yes.
And one of the worst things I always tell people, and some people have adopted this philosophy, the best way to get over somebody is to get underneath somebody. And that is one of the worst things that you can do. That is one of the worst things that you can do, because you have trauma right here, and the person that you're dealing with may have trauma. And when you all have unresolved issues and unresolved trauma, that's a recipe for disaster.
Trauma bond. Yeah, you create a trauma bond.
There you go.
Yep. And that goes back to the little saying, hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of times it's not intentional. It's just that they hadn't dealt with their issues.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. This is good stuff. So what is let me say, because I know, sometimes when we're doing stuff, we don't want to expose too much before. But can you kind of give an idea of what maybe the next book may be about?
The next book that I'm currently working on now is and I shared, it's called Conquering the Cave.
Oh.
And it's all about overcoming obstacles. And I equate myself to David, when David was on the run from Saul. And he found himself in the cave. And he was about to lose his mind and everything. The crazy part about it, he was already anointed to be the king, but he didn't know that he was already the king. And so a lot of times he had to overcome a whole lot of obstacles while he was in that cave. And my life for the last year and a half has been what I call my cave moments, to where you take 2 steps forward and then you mess around and take 6 back. So that's what it's going to be about. Really, this last 4 years of my life and a little bit, maybe high school and college, some of the things that I overcame. But for the most part, it's about a book about overcoming.
And so you're going to be talking about your personal experience and sharing what you did to overcome those different obstacles.
Correct.
And will you be giving like specific advice or maybe steps?
It's same thing with Mending the Broken Soul. There's going to be different exercises. I'm also going to create a course for that as well.
Okay.
So that, I'm for me, it's not about money. I want to be in a place to where I can be able to help people, because people out here are hurting.
They are.
They are dealing with a whole bunch of stuff, especially guys. We tend to, and especially me,
right.
I tend to internalize everything and say, somebody call check on you, say, man, I'm okay. And guys will mess around and okay themselves in the grave because they don't talk to anybody. They don't want to talk to anybody. They don't feel comfortable talking to anybody. So I'm trying to break the stigma of, 1, it's okay to get counseling. Ooh. 2, it's okay to get help.
Ooh.
And 3, it's okay to talk to people about your problems, but it has to be somebody that you trust.
Right.
It has to be, you have to have somebody around you that's going to hold you accountable.
And you can open up.
Right.
Yeah.
And be your genuine, natural self without being judged.
Yes. I agree. What's your take on that, Adrian?
Well, I just have a lot of questions.
Oh boy.
Most of all, because I do agree. I agree, and I'm not 40. I'm approaching 40, but so I can't speak from, your point of view. I can't even speak from your point of view because I'm a woman. But I do agree. I have close male friends. I am married, and you have to kind of like pull it out of them, right?
Right.
And as pull it, like it's like pulling teeth, like seriously. And I didn't understand that saying until I got married. But I find it to be so different, right? Like by the time I turned 30, I experienced a lot. And, trauma bonds, heartbreak, mental abuse, physical abuse, all of that. And it stays on the back of my mind. So the things that I do today, is because of who I was yesterday or the things that happened yesterday. And so with men, I say all to say, with men, y'all almost forget. Like, y'all don't forget, but y'all put it all the way to the back, and it doesn't matter. And I'm like, it does matter, because what you're doing right now, everything that you're doing in this moment is based off of what you've lived in the past.
Yep.
And so, what advice, if you had three tips, without giving me the whole book, because we want people to get the book, right? We want our men to get that book.
Please get the book.
Please get the book.
Please.
3 tips for men that will help them open up
And even be more accepted of getting counseling, because I feel like, one, it's okay to get counseling, seek counseling. 2, when you're going through some things, so basically I had a show, and we touched on counseling, and in that it was different questions saying, oh well, or statements, I would say, counseling is not, why should I get counseling within my relationship? If I'm in the relationship, I should be able to deal with my problems and not seek outside help. And then it was things like, well, what if the counselor is biased, or and what if you both don't go in with true intentions? One person might be with true intentions, and the other person might just be going just to be going. And my question and thought with that was, well, I would rather go than not go, even if you're saying you're going just to be going, or just to appease the other party, because you never know what you
find out about you,
right. might learn, and then maybe the other person may become open and receptive where they were shut down. I mean, you can't, for me, when you're doing counseling, it is for you as a whole, as a couple, but then it's for you as an individual as well.
Right.
And you don't never know what you might pull or draw. Now, I don't believe, personally, every situation does not call for counseling. And every time you have a situation, you shouldn't be saying, ooh, we should go to counseling. Oh, yeah. But the counseling will help you develop tools,
right,
so you can understand each other and deal with your problems or issues in the future. Those are my thoughts.
That was a lot.
Yeah, right.
So let's dive into one thing one at a time.
Okay.
First thing, and I'm gonna be honest, because that's the only way I know how to be. Counseling and therapy was taboo for African Americans, because we recently just started going to counseling and therapy over the last 30 to 40 years, maybe. And especially men. And I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to be transparent. My first time going to counseling was in 2015. And the reason why I went, because I was in a relationship at the time. My dad had died in 2013. I was mad at the world. I was lashing out at everybody.
Oh, wow.
And she was like, we need to go to therapy.
Yeah.
And she put the ultimatum on me. She was like, you either go to therapy or I'm done. I'm out. So I was like, okay, well, I'm in love, so I'm going to go ahead and go do this.
Right. So you were going just to appease and
hurt.
Right.
And like I said, I can't speak for every brother, but most men are like that.
Right.
But then I got in that after the first 2 sessions and started opening up. I was like, okay, well, cool. I needed this. Mm-hmm. And come to realize, my mom died in 2005. My dad died in 2013. And I had went a whole 10 years without having dealt with my mom and dad's death.
Wow. So it's stacked on top of each other.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, because of that, because I just couldn't figure out why I was angry, why was I mad at everybody, why was I always snapping, it was because I hadn't dealt with that trauma and that grief. But back to what you were saying, if a brother opens up to you, because we as men, we're taught to be tough, we're taught to be strong, we're taught to figure it out on your
You're
own.
not supposed to cry.
We're not supposed to do any of that.
No emotions shown.
None.
Yeah.
And-
Taboo.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we are also told not to dump and put anything on our significant others, which forces us to internalize it and deal with it on our own. Sometimes we'll figure it out, sometimes we'll mess it up.
Right.
But if a brother confides in you and open with you and share his innermost thoughts and being vulnerable with you, that brother is in love with you and he trusts you. And you need to take advantage of that situation, because a lot of us don't do that. And that's the only way you are going to be able to grow, is having those uncomfortable conversations. And sometimes a lot of people, everybody want to be grown until it's time to have one of those uncomfortable conversations. And when it forces you to deal with yourself and your significant other to be held accountable, and at one point it feel like you pointing the finger at each other, and it's almost like you're telling each other what you can and what you can't do, instead of focusing on what you can do.
Right.
And sometimes it takes that third party, i.e. counseling or therapy, to give you all solutions to try to help and navigate through that. Like you said, everything doesn't need a life coach or counseling.
It doesn't. I know. I've shared with everybody. I've even mentioned it on the radio. So I've been married multiple times. So currently, I'm been married now for 4 years to my husband. This is my fourth marriage, and yeah, I told him it was no options. Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah, we gonna go to counseling, and we did marital counseling before we got married, and we've done like little tune-ups, and it wasn't that we needed it, but we just did it. So now, me as a life coach, I'll constantly, well, not constantly, because I don't want to be seen like I'm nagging, but I'll do checkups. Hey, are we good? Are you good? Is there anything that you feel like I should be doing that could help enhance the relationship? Because I want to know.
Right.
I want to have, and one thing that I told him, even in dating, I said, give me an opportunity to make it right, but I can't make it right if I don't know what's wrong.
Right.
So,
But you know what? Even that, asking, how you doing today? Hi, you feeling good? That
They don't
has to be
always.
learned. I wasn't like that, because sometimes, like, I grew up with a single mom. It was go, go, go. Like, as long as I remember being sick, right? And my mom being like, well, just go to school, walk around, you'll feel better, right?
Right.
So, like, it wasn't because she wanted to just not worry about my feelings, but it was more because she didn't have an option. And so...
and you pick that up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And in healing, right, because I'm from Jersey. So Jersey is New York, and New York is New Jersey, and tri-state areas each other. And we're all just fast. We're always going.
Right.
And so as long as you eating and as long as you breathing, you good.
right.
Like, it's like, so I had to learn that, because when I'm dealing with someone else, you don't know what they thinking. You don't know how. You don't even know what. You have to learn their love language. And when we say love language, right, we automatically go touch,
Physical
Yeah.
It's like, it's down to the
Yeah.
details of
What they like.
and what, even they favorite fish, stuff like that, because that's the stuff that matters at the end of the day. And it's not the money, like you said. It's about, like, really feeling like you're cared for. And some people thrive off of that. Even if you don't thrive off of it,
Right.
your partner might thrive off of it.
Yeah.
Right.
But you got to know.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it. And that comes with keeping the lines of communication open. I know what I would do is we would always check in with each other. Like, peak, what we would call, what was your peak for the day and what was your valley for the day?
Okay.
And that would be a way of us kind of touching base with each other, just kind of seeing how each other's day was, and see if there was anything that we could do to make the other person feel better.
Right.
That just comes with just checking in, and we would have keywords, if hey, listen, you pushing it. You know what I'm saying? You need to get somewhere and chill out.
Yeah, my husband and I have a safe word, and I will not share it on air.
Right.
But when it gets to that point, and I just be like, yeah, da 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 da, he be like, hey, yeah, we shot the safe word, and
Right.
that means, hey,
Back off.
back off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then we will come back. But one thing about it, whoever initiates the safe word has to reinitiate
The
the
conversation.
The
conversation.
conversation. That's
It
right.
doesn't just die.
Right.
You have to finish the conversation to prevent it from keeping it coming back and back and back. So you have to find some kind of resolution. So, yeah.
I totally agree.
What about you? I want to ask you first. So you're from Jersey. So you're from North, and you married a Southern guy.
Ooh.
And so Northern women do have the reputation of being not hospitable
Yes.
as much as like rush, go. Some people even say you might have a little harder temperament.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
Okay. So I could attribute two things to my personality. The first being from where I'm from. I mean, I'm sure y'all heard it. You know, when we talk to each other just as friends, are you dumb? You stupid? Like, what's wrong with you? But it's not like, that's just how we talk to each other. You know what I'm saying? And we know when it gets serious, and we know when to stop. And then I came down here in 2020. So I came down here, and all my slang and all my ways of talking to people didn't work. Especially with my husband. Because when I was like, I had friends, I didn't really care. But it slowly became a problem. And it started to stack up. And as we're talking about, y'all don't put things on the table sometimes where it's like, that's really bothering me. I'm going to need you to not do that. So then eventually it was like, you're disrespectful and you this and you that. And I'm like, hold on, because 50% might be disrespectful, okay? Like, I might have actually said that when I was mad. But the other 50, I'm like, you probably internalized that. But I felt like he was trying to change me. And so it took for me to really go to counseling to understand and have, because I just kept trying to tell him that's who I am, that's who I am, that's who I am. I don't mean it that way, right?
Right.
But then I had to respect. It is respect for his feelings and how he feel, and so
Validation.
I didn't change who I am at all. I still talk to my friends like that because that's our relationship. But you don't have the same relationship that you have with everybody. That's like I wouldn't talk to my mama like that.
Exactly.
So I wouldn't talk to him like that. But I think what was happening is that when they were like, you go the first couple times we went, the counselor was saying, you have to have a friendship. Well, that's how I talk to my friends, right? So I wasn't getting it because I'm like, well, that's how I talk to my friends, and if I can't talk to you like that, and you can't understand that's how I am, then we can't be friends. But my friends also don't get off of work at 6 a.m., come take care of my baby, don't go to sleep till 11 a.m. the next morning, cook and clean. They also don't do that.
Right.
So we have a friendship, but it's way different.
It's a different type of friendship.
And it's deeper.
It's deeper. It's
Yeah.
everything.
It's deeper and more intimate.
Yeah. Yes. And so I learned, and like I honestly, counseling was the best thing we could have done. And it, like you said, it's the tools, because you're never not going to be upset with something. Like if you don't argue, you don't talk enough.
Right.
If you don't have disagreements, you're not communicating enough.
Arguments, believe it or not, can be healthy.
Yes.
And when you arguing and you fighting, what I call fighting, not physical, but verbally fighting, it's okay to argue and it's okay to have those, because usually sometimes those uncomfortable conversations will get escalated and the argument will ensue. And it's okay long as you're fighting fair. And a lot of times people are fighting and the same thing to try to hurt the other person, or what I call getting their lick back, instead of trying to come to some sort of resolution. I'm trying to hurt you, just like you hurt me for whatever it is that I did.
Right.
Or to be right.
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 instead of solution based.
Right.
Look, I'm not you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And but what was hard is because my thoughts were always on the table.
Right.
And then when you're dealing with someone who's learning how to communicate, their thoughts aren't always on the table. So number two, my dad was not I knew my dad my whole life, but my dad was struggling with drugs. He's in his 70s now, and so my whole life it's been like, you know, I had to be the strong one. I had to be like responsible for myself. I didn't have anybody to teach me how to date and what a man thinks and anything like that. So when you have a strong mama and strong aunties and strong, you know, grandmamas and things like that, you learn from them. Like, well, you don't need no man, and you do by yourself. So if he don't want to be here, he ain't got to be here. You know what I'm saying? And they share that advice, and they don't. It's no malice intended. Right. They don't mean to hurt you, but they're hurting you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And so
yes.
And so I had to when I moved down here in 2020, it was the best thing for me because we were in the pandemic, everything was shut down. I was by myself a lot. And then being by myself, I got to reflect on my relationship with my parents. And that's the moment where I started to accept my upbringing and the things that I felt hurt by that I didn't realize I was hurt by or I had trauma from with past relationships. I just accepted it. And the one thing that stood with me was that they did the best that they can.
Right.
On drugs, off drugs, single mama, married mama, it didn't matter. They did the best they can. And so it wasn't intentional.
Right.
And then they learned from their parents.
Right.
So it's like at some point, but the good thing about it is you realize and you broke the cycle, which is, you know, that can be passed down. What we, you know, tend to say generational curses. It can be passed down from generation to generation to generation until somebody gets the aha and they start reversing those things. Right. So, yeah.
And in that year, I went back home to visit my parents, and my dad was outside, and it was like 90 degrees outside. He's a mechanic, and he was nodding off. This is the worst I've seen him in forever. Like, I've never seen him this bad, right? And it was hot outside. My concern wasn't you doing this and you doing that. It was his safety because I was pulled my car up, standing there for a while. He didn't know I was standing there. So if you don't notice, I'm sitting there. Imagine somebody, you know. So I recorded him, and I recorded him not to embarrass him. I didn't send it anywhere. I didn't send it to anybody. I kept it for myself. In that year, he went to rehab. And 4 years later, he has done amazing. Aww. And he's good, and it's been the rehab and it's been the therapy. That's the part.
So he did do therapy.
He did they make you do therapy when you go into the clinic, right? And so he called me like a month ago. And so just a short snippet. He was married to my mom. He had another relationship outside of my mom, and that's how my siblings came to be. And so he was always split between two households. Finally, when I turned about 10, he stayed with my mom and, you know, was still struggling, but he was with us. It was just very tumultuous, just within himself. It wasn't like violence or anything like that. He just was struggling, you know? Right. And so all of that therapy got him to talk. It was practice. He got to practice talking to somebody that he could trust. Right. Yeah. And then he finally called me and apologized. And I didn't need the apology. At this point in my life, I didn't need it, but he gave it to me. And it's important for men and people just in general to understand that the therapy is for you, but when you get to the other side, you'll realize it's for everybody, the people you love too.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That stops the cycle.
That's a big statement. The therapy is for you, but it's for everybody as well once the therapy is completed, because that helps you be a better person and be better able to communicate. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you healed. Like, I healed myself, but if I was not, I think it was just that 1%, that 2% that was left is complete. Right. I'm healed. I'm good. I can move forward in my life. If he was no longer with us today, I'd be fine. people don't understand that, like, time. You don't have time.
Right.
Yeah. Time waits for no one.
And I was blessed in that, to have that.
Right.
So I am a big fan of counseling and therapy, and just talking, even if you sound dumb or you feel like you sound dumb, just talk, just say it, because then nobody can help you if you don't get it out.
Right.
All right. I like that.
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, because at the end of the day, everybody carries around an invisible backpack.
Mm-hmm.
Some people have more stuff in their invisible backpack than others, but everybody has something that they're carrying. And some people, that's why I always tell people, you just have to, I don't care if you don't know people, it costs absolutely nothing to be nice.
Yes.
Because that'll open up a conversation that you just never know. You point into that person may be the exact thing that they needed to go on another further.
Yeah.
And it's just, we're in some real, real crazy times. And I'm just an advocate, like I said, for everybody, regardless if you need it or not. But if you, like I said, if you survive the pandemic,
Yeah.
you need to be in counseling somewhere.
Yeah, because I think the world has gotten out of touch with being around people. We're doing more isolation. I personally was blessed to be able to work from home, and that put me in isolation. It's a good isolation for me, but it's still isolation. So I do have other outlets in my life where I can come. Here is one, yay! And then I do come on to my friend's show as well from time to time. So we do gather, and shout out to Just Prima. So yeah, I do feel like you're absolutely correct. If you survive the pandemic, you do need.
Think about
and
this.
I would say it would be good to have. You
Right.
know, yeah.
Just think about this. I don't know exactly what the numbers are, but I know the divorce rate tripled right after the pandemic. And that was because a lot of times people were stuck in the house with their significant others when everybody's used to going to work, and they're used to, and you're forced to stay there and all the stress, the tension. And in some cases, I don't know you. Who are you?
Yep.
And just like that Tamia song, I have a stranger in my house.
Yeah.
And so you're trying to figure it out. That's part of the song too.
Yeah.
And so, I said, but you just didn't know who you were dealing with. And they end up getting a divorce, and getting a divorce is a traumatic experience.
Yes.
So if your marriage survived the pandemic and you met somebody and y'all still survived the pandemic, kudos to you.
I got married in the pandemic.
See? To God be the glory.
I met my husband in the pandemic.
See?
But you know what? God is good, because it was a challenge. And the way that it was, without giving all the information, it was very unconventional how we wound up together. But God did his thing.
Right.
It was supposed to be like that.
Right.
Because if not, she's a runner, she's a track star.
Oh boy, I
You
dealt with one of those.
And I was put in a position where I was like, I'm gonna make this work. We go. I don't care. I don't care how much you don't like me. We gonna talk. You know. It was. You know.
I do. I
think
do,
if-
and I does.
I think if people go into these relationships in marriage without the option of leaving, you'll be less apt to leave. It'll force you to sit down and figure stuff out. And, you know, a lot of people always say, everybody, the generation before us, they stayed, and everybody said, I'm not staying. I'm not going to be like my grandma and stay with my granddad and all of the stuff that went on. But sometimes that wasn't always the case. I look at my mom and dad. They were married 40 years until my mom transitioned and died. I got an aunt right now and uncle. They've been married, I know, over 70 years. He's 100, she's 98. And they still love on each other like, you know, they kids.
Right.
And see, people, you need to be with somebody that's gonna be with you through thick and thin, and will they be able to stand the storms of life with you? And if you find that person, you need to hold on to that person, and you need to work things out with that person, because in this era, this time that we're in, everybody is out for self, and everybody is trying to get me. And if you have somebody genuine that has genuine interest and has your back, you all need to figure that thing out and work it out. Now, but now I'm not saying they're physically, verbally abusive.
I agree.
By all means, do what you have to do and leave.
Yeah.
But if it's something as simple as, well, he don't put the toilet seat up, or he puts the toilet paper on wrong, or it's just the minor stuff. That's stuff that can be salvageable and fixed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we all married the same man because they all do the same thing. And so you're not different. It's fine. I used to call, and she used to be like, girl,
He a man.
yeah. And I'm like, okay.
And so here's my thing that I do tell a lot of women. If, a man is a man, right? And there are certain things that they're going to do. It doesn't matter who they are. There's certain base things that's you'd be like, okay, that's a man. They just don't, some men, and I'm not going to say all men because that's generalizing, but yeah, some men just might not be point. Like for me, when I plan, I'm like, okay, good example. So my husband and I was watching a commercial, and I don't know if you've seen the commercial where the man is like walking through the airport and the lady's walking beside him, or they have one at the beach and the man is like, oh, 9 o'clock, okay, I got this and I got that, and this got to be done at 10, and then the lady's like, la 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 la. Have you seen that
commercial?
Yeah, well, my husband was like, yeah, that's me and you, but reverse.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not that he doesn't, he is a protector, he is a provider. However, I'm always in my mind, okay, we're going to do X, Y, Z, and then if X, Y, Z don't happen, then I'm going to do QRST, and then if QRST don't work out, then I got W, X, Y, and Z, and A, B, C, D. So, but I'm doing step by step where, he might be like, yeah, boom.
And then my therapist I said something like that to my therapist, and my therapist said so.
So
as long as you define the roles, because that's what you're good at.
I think, and that's the thing.
Every marriage doesn't look the same.
Right.
Every relationship doesn't look the same.
People see stuff on the internet and they're quick to say relationship goals.
Yep.
And they just don't know that them jokers just got through fighting right before they took the selfie in the
Fidelity,
picture.
all types of stuff.
I mean, for real.
Doing it for the gram.
Doing it for the gram. And they just don't know. You have to do what works for you and your marriage and your relationship. And, I'm tired of seeing this stuff floating around about the men paying the 100%.
Yeah, me too.
The women paying the 80% and all of this, that. Do what works for your house and stop comparing what everybody else is doing.
Right. Michelle, it was like life-changing conversation for me, Michelle Obama. She said sometimes I'm at 20 and my partner got to know he got to pull up on 80, and sometimes he on 80 and I got, because whatever the situation is, it don't stay at 50-50. Right. It don't stay at 100, because at the end of the day, you have to be with somebody that if you had to be at 100 and they was at 0, would you be able to do that?
Yep.
Because then life come at you. You don't know what tomorrow's going to bring.
Facts.
And then you just don't know. So if my husband was incapable of doing 100, would I do 100? That's a lot of people can't answer that question.
That's when true love and God has to step in and intervene, because you really forced to make a decision. Do I help this person and stick by them because we know that things are going to get better? Mm-hmm. Or do you get, like you said, you get your track shoes and you take off running? And that's why it's important that you deal with people that really want to deal with you. Mm-hmm. Choose who chooses you. And like I said, because life is going to happen, you may be up right now, But just as sure as it's hot outside, stuff can turn around at the drop of a hat.
Yep.
And people need to keep that in mind. When you are with somebody, and especially when you're getting married, you are taking an oath to better or for worse, to death do us part, sickness and in health. And a lot of times people don't understand that, and they prepare themselves for the wedding, but don't take time out to prepare themselves for the marriage.
That part. I know, and people will say that, oh, that sounds weird, but when in dating my husband, I knew that I loved him when I said to myself, you know what, if anything ever happened and I really had to take care of him and he needed a bath and he had to go to the bathroom, I could do all of that.
Right.
For him. But in the past, I'd be like, nah, I got to hire somebody. I can't, I ain't finna be wiping nobody behind and changing no underwear. We finna hire somebody. No, I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
10 toes down. I'm in.
That's unconditional love.
Yeah.
When you putting yourself in front of, when you putting your needs behind the other person's needs, that's unconditional love. And if you get somebody like that, hold on to them, because that's extremely rare in today's society.
I agree. That's your one.
Right. That's the one.
So let me ask you, I don't know if this is getting a little too personal. I know you said that with the mending, the heartbreak with the book, were you able to mend and repair?
Yes.
Okay. Yay.
That, and that's the thing. The crazy part about it, my situation, it wasn't because it was a bad relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we were together, we were like a magnet.
Mm-hmm.
It goes back to me being disobedient when I know God had put something in me and put something in her.
Mm-hmm.
And when we do what we want to do and get in our own way, God be like, okay, so you just want to do what you want to do? You want to do what you want to do? I need to separate y'all so I can pull out what you need. I need to pull out what she need, and then y'all will come back together.
Yep. Yeah, I think sometimes, like you said, you can get in your own way. Sometimes you see couples, and this is just from the outside looking in, and you be like, oh, wow, they look so good together. They act, like they are good and this and that, but then you don't never know what's going on behind the scenes.
Right.
So,
right. And plus, life was kicking my tail because, like I said, I was in limbo waiting on these folks to sign my retirement paperwork. And so I'm
agitated behind that.
I'm dealing with that, dealing with all these bills, and this short-term disability and long, that ain't enough.
Oh, I know all about that.
So, you dealing with all of that stuff, and some of your personal stuff start to bleed into the relationship. And, sometimes you just have to take a step back and then revisit and take 2 steps forward. So I'm an advocate for that.
All right. So we've touched on the healing part, and we touched on the 12 P's of dating. Where can they find your book? First of all, I want to ask you that.
All of my books are available on Amazon.
Yes, let's see them. Show them off.
Can we see?
This was the first one.
Let me have one. Let me hold these 2 up for you. Let me help you out. See.
The first one in the green is the 12 P's of dating. That's the one for the grown folks. The one in the brown is the 12 P's of dating for young adults. I was at my little cousin's prom, and I noticed that a lot of these young people didn't know how to interact with each other because they're so used to having that cell phone. So I wrote a brief guide for them to kind of help them navigate during the dating, because that's a crucial age when they're juniors and seniors in high school and even in college to try to figure out how to date. So I wrote that one, and what I call my baby is the Mending the Broken Soul.
Yes.
That one, like I said, my publisher, she was like, man, you poured in you let your heart out in that one. And like I said, sometimes you have to go through stuff. The things that we go through sometimes ain't even about us. It's for us to be a blessing to other people.
Yes.
And so that's all I'm trying to do with these books is try to be a blessing to other people. Try to help people date properly and how to help people get over heartbreak so they can be successful in dating again.
Okay, I like that. That is good because I know, like I stated before, with me, having been married multiple times, it was hard. And I will say, for me, staying right and knowing when to exit, that was
Right.
a big part for me because it became a point where I'm like, now it's like, even though I know I should leave, but I'm like, oh my God, it's another failed situation.
Ego.
What's wrong with me? I'm not good enough. I'm broken. And then, it became a point where I was like, you know what? I know that I shouldn't be feeling and dealing with what I'm dealing with.
Right.
I know that this is not what God has envisioned for me because he has already shown me.
Right.
Literally, he showed me what I was supposed to have in my life. So at that point, I always say, a lot of times I'm active, I talk. When I get quiet, then that's when I am rehashing and thinking. So at the point that I am quiet, I literally try to step out of my body and look at myself from the outside.
Yeah.
And see what's going on and try to assess, okay, well, why are you doing this? Why is this? Well, how is this going to be better for you? Is this really going to benefit you? Is it beneficial? And then that way I can make the best decision for myself. So.
Right.
Do you think it was more fear or more ego?
It wasn't fear because so for me, when you say fear, I equate that with, I need, or I'm scared to be alone. Honey, I used to take myself on dates. I used to take myself to the movies. So that was never an issue for me. I don't want to say ego, but maybe I don't want to say ego in the terms of ego, but maybe it was, because when I think of ego, it's like in the sense of like pride. And I wasn't proud. It's just that I felt defected. I felt defeated, like, I'm broken. Like, yeah, so, and shame.
Yeah, okay.
Shame was a very big part. And I'm going to tell you, I was always upfront when dating. I would tell people, the guys that I might be going out, I've been married. I tell them how many times. It's like, ooh, what you do? Ooh, my husband did not say that to me, not one time.
Right.
And we dated for 6 months, and he unofficially proposed to me after going to a concert one night. And I'm like, wow. I said, you want to marry me? He was like, yeah. I'm like, I hope she don't want no big wedding. And I'm like, why? So then it made me think. I said, but why me? I said, you never once questioned me about being married multiple times. Right. And he was like, well, at this stage, you should know what you want. You've been consistent. And I've always been upfront and honest with him, even from day one of us meeting to when I brought him to meet my mom, and we sat down and talked. I talked to him about what I envisioned my future would look like, right. Even in a relationship, and myself outside the relationship, meaning my business, personal side. And so we just clicked. And I would say, my cousin's husband, I always say, I'm not your best friend, I'm your husband. And I get that, but he was my best friend. And when I talk to people, when I was telling them, I met somebody, and they would be like, well, what do you like about him? I said, you know what? To be honest, I fell in love with his personality. Right. And then automatically, oh, he must be ugly. I was like, well, why does that have to be a main subject? I said, he's attractive to me. He's a beautiful person to me. But in all honesty, if you ask me what did I like most about him, it would be his personality.
Right.
I've never been the one that wanted to be like right up under someone that I'm dating. We are inseparable. And my mom, she laughs. We are literally inseparable.
That's good. I think once people realize that in the beginning you should date for, and I talk about that in the 12 P's, you should date for purpose versus preference. Because everybody has their purpose, their preferences, 6 feet, 6-pack, driving the 6 Series, making 6 figures, or 5'5", thick in the thighs, smiling to make the whole entire sunrise. So everybody has what their preferences are.
Yep.
But I always ask people, are you with that person that was your preference? And 9 times out of 10, it's not. Now, you can, if you're blessed to have both, that's a blessing. But don't let that be, don't rule out somebody because they may be 5'9" or 5'10". He may have a heart of a 6'5" giant. And if that's your purpose partner and God has put you all together to do kingdom work and purpose together, you need to be obedient and do what God tell you to do.
And don't keep somebody around for the opposite.
Don't exactly play what they call placeholders.
Yes. It's okay to be by yourself. Well, guys, we are closing. It's time to close. And it came so quick.
It did.
Yeah, right. I was just getting in good. So I don't want to go. But anyway, John, it was a pleasure having you here. Please tell everybody again where they can find your books.
You can find the 12 P's of Dating series on Amazon, as well as Mending a Broken Soul on Amazon. Get it. I promise you it will bless your socks off.
Okay, not bless your socks off.
It'll bless your socks off.
I want my socks on.
All right. Adrian, do you have any final words?
No, I think we said everything that we should say, but I am very happy that you were able to come share with us today because it's therapy is needed, counseling is needed, talking is needed, and I want the viewers to, especially the men, to feel like they are understood and they're heard and they do have an outlet. So
a safe space.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. So thank you.
Well, John, it has been an absolute pleasure. I am glad that we were able to connect.
Yes, listen, appreciate you, D. I appreciate you. And thank you so much for having me.
And I would love for you to come back, actually.
Just let me know when. I'll be here.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to end the show. So I'm so sorry we have to go. But tune in next Wednesday, 8 p.m., 9 p.m., same place, same time. I will be here. Bye.